Hello, we are live once again with our founder, Ruth Freeman, talking about our 15-minute challenge. Hi, Ruth.
Hi, Amy. Glad to be here today. There's a lot going on out there in the world.
There is. I'm actually at Ruth's house today, but we're in different rooms, so we could be on screen like this. And today we're going to talk about our 15-minute challenge. And if you have any questions about that, you're welcome to write in. But we also wanted to talk a little about what's happening in the world, politics, and the holidays coming up, and how that affects families. Ruth, do you have any words about? I guess we can start with politics. It's a big topic, but any quick tips on how to talk to your kids about what's going on, and maybe about like how you're talking about politics in front of your kids too?
Well, first, I actually want to back to the 15 minutes because yesterday we had a conversation about mental health and misbehavior and trying to discern those because chronic misbehavior is often related to unmet needs and sometimes mental health issues, and it can be very confusing for parents. And I'd be happy to talk to anybody who wants to talk about that. I want to remind everybody that you can always reach us at solutions@peaceathomeparenting.com. Um, and one of the things that came up was terrible morning routines and all these conflicts during morning routines. And it came to me after the session that you could do your 15 minutes in the morning, and I'll explain that, even though it probably sounds impossible. Um, One of the things that I have diagnosed over the years and years of talking to parents about morning routines is that the whole morning routine is designed to separate. Get up, get dressed, get your teeth brushed, eat your breakfast, get your backpack ready, boom, we're out of here. And the truth is that children are designed to connect. So there's a conflict of needs in those morning routines, particularly when they're rushed. And I realized in reflection that in our house, and that was a long, long time ago, several decades, I wouldn't count it in years, the morning routine ended with breakfast together, and then we departed.
And you
And
do like pancakes and like fun breakfasts, right?
we used to have serious breakfast. Joe loved to cook breakfast. Um, and and we had a very easy work schedule. So it was, I don't know that parents can do all that. However, if you're willing to get up 15 or 20 minutes earlier, what I'm hearing from parents is that one of the ways they get their kids to move along on the morning routine is that they do something fun before departure. One dad said that he played basketball with his kids for a few minutes while they were waiting for the bus. And another parent actually got a trampoline, and I heard about this from an Aetna parent. So she's in her business clothes, and she goes out there with her daughter and gets on the trampoline for as much time as the daughter can um, plan for. If the daughter is ready early, they go out and do the trampoline.
Mhm.
Big motivation. You have to know what your kid likes. You have to know what you're willing to do. But if you can design them, and if you can do it for 15 minutes, you got your 15 minutes done. If you do it for 5 minutes, then you just do 10 minutes later. But
Mhm.
it's a one-on-one experience if there's one kid that you can focus on at a time, or it can be more than one kid. But it's moving the morning routine towards connection versus separation. So there's connection, then there's separation. And that can look all different ways for different families. But I just wanted to mention it because there's so much conflict in the morning routine, and I always feel sad about families leaving each other for the day in this space of stress and conflict, particularly now when we're talking about kids' mental health and we
Yep.
want parents to be their kids' calm center.
Yeah.
So politics. Did you want to say something about
Well,
that?
yeah, a comment and a question. One, I've heard you talk about this before, and you often will talk about, if you want to build that 15 minutes into the morning routine, that means going to bed 15 minutes earlier. So not waking up exhausted and not wanting to get up in the morning. But so thinking about that as a parent too, it's not just about getting up earlier, it's also about going to bed earlier.
Well,
Um,
I would go even further, Amy, and that is the American Sleep Foundation and our sleep expert confirms that if 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 you're getting enough sleep, the if you're getting enough sleep, you will be able to wake up in the morning at the right time to be ready without rushing, without an alarm clock. And this
Mm-hmm.
sort of blows parents' minds. And there's that thing called bed um, bedtime procrastination, something like that. And it's when people are so busy all day that they have no downtime. And so
Mm-hmm.
you end up scrolling through your phone or just and you're exhausted, but you're doing it just revenge bedtime procrastination. And it's revenge for not having any time to yourself. So I don't know what the answer to that is because many parents don't have time to themselves, but it could be looking at your life and asking yourself, what can I do less of? And often it is scrolling on your phone during the day, but it's finding those brain calming practices that work
Mm-hmm.
versus something online that doesn't actually, calm your brain. But go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah. The other thing, just a question about if you have those 15 minutes at the end of the morning routine before you go off to school, drop your kids off wherever you're going. I can see like if you're outside and the bus comes, then that's like the clear end to this playtime and kids get on the bus. Like that's like the bus is here, it's time to go. But when it's now we all need to get in the car together, I think that could be a little more challenging if kids want to be playing. Any thoughts on that, like transitioning out of the playtime and into the car?
So that, there's a couple of things depending on the ages of the children, but there's always if then. So if we can get in the car on time, then we can do this tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then if they procrastinate and they goof around the next day, you're saying, oh, I'm so sad we can't do the trampoline, but we're going to try again tomorrow. So
Yeah.
you're going to make the boundary and you're going to be affirming and validating of their disappointment, but you're going to not do it that morning. And you promise we'll try again tomorrow. See if you can, I'm sure tomorrow you can end on time. It also means giving them a little warning. In 2 minutes, we need to end. And also with younger children, you can actually practice.
Mm.
With younger children, you can say to them, sometimes we have trouble stopping the card game we play. So let's pretend that we're playing and you have the cards, and then I'm going to say, we got to go now. And you're going to put your cards down and get up, and you ask your kid to act it out. That's awesome. Okay, now you be the mommy and I'll be the kid. And then the child says it's time to stop and you stop, or you can complain. So that's another practice to get routines moving more smoothly. If then, and practicing with younger kids.
Okay. Those are good tips. Thanks, Ruth. All right. So now to talk about our topics of the day, politics and then the holidays. And I think they're definitely connected because there tend to be these big conversations about politics at the holidays. People like to voice their differing opinions sometimes. Maybe it's just my family. But will you share any tips you have about talking to your kids about politics and how to talk about politics in front of them?
I mean, I think everyone knows this, and I know how hard it is. People are feeling very, very, very strong feelings about this presidential election. And I think that talking to your kids about it, I mean, I heard my granddaughter say something mean about the candidate that I'm not supporting, and everybody laughed and her eyes lit up. And I didn't say anything at the moment, but it was kind of like one of those moments when you're around somebody that makes kind of a sexist or racial joke and you don't smile but you don't say anything. And that's how I felt. I felt like I I was being not brave. I was being, and I'm going to talk with her about it at another time. And I think she would have been embarrassed if I talked about it in front of everybody. But um, I, 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 the challenge is not to model hatred or or anger in harmful ways to our kids, because no matter how upset you feel, on one hand, you're trying to teach your kids to be respectful and kind and open-hearted, but no matter how terrible the other candidate may seem to you, speaking that way about them, whether you believe it to be true or not, is simply modeling for your kids. So you can call your friends when your kids are in school or after they go to bed, and you can do whatever you need to do. But around your kids, you can talk about it. I mean, I had one parent come into my private practice after President Trump was elected, and her 5-year-old said, "Mommy, why did we elect a bully?" And those are the kinds of difficulties that parents can run into. And I think you want to start with your children's perceptions. So if kids are saying things that are provocative or distressing, you want to say, "Wow, I wonder why you're thinking that." Another way to talk to kids is to ask them, what are your friends thinking about this? And that it's helpful to them because your kids are hearing things from peers that may or may not be true. And I think that um, talking about the difficulties of disagreeing with someone who isn't acting kind towards other people, but you have to act kind towards them and the difficulty of that. I think it's very complicated. But the important thing is your children are looking to you, as Erin Weintraub, our Peace and Home teacher, says, your children are looking to you to signal safety or lack of safety. And you do that in your voice, your body language, your facial expression, your words, your gestures. So if you're walking around just being angry about something related to politics, and you're saying it out loud, or you're doing gestures or expressions or even facial expressions, you're triggering your kids to feel a little unsafe. And you may feel a little unsafe. So for the job of the parent is to process that someplace else and help your kids feel safe. And we're happy to talk to you about this. You can write into the Peace and Home Facebook group. If you're a member of the private group, you just go to Peace and Home Parenting Facebook private group, Peace and Home Parenting private group, and you can talk about this on the in the private group, or you can email us at solutions@peaceandhomeparenting. So can we talk about, yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to ask, what about when your teenagers are disagreeing with your opinions?
That's a really tough one.
Yeah.
It's really important then to listen, to understand what their sources of information are, and to remain respectful at all times. You may not be able to change their minds, and it may be very upsetting to you. However, respecting your kids and acknowledging that we don't see it the same way in a respectful way is very important to your relationship with them. They are doing what's sometimes called individuating. They're saying, I'm not you, I'm me. They might be just like you, but they're saying, I'm not you, I'm me. And one of the ways of doing that is to say, I'm the opposite of you politically. It doesn't mean they're going to be that way forever. Kids leave the faith community. They do all kinds of things in adolescence. And the more you can be curious and interested and understand how they came to these decisions, the better. And the more you can model the ways you want them to be in the world, the more you're going to influence them, even though temporarily they're going to look like crazy people because of the brain changes. But hang in there. They're going to come around. Your behavior is what influences them most.
We only have about a minute and a half left, but do you want to say anything quickly about some things we're talking about right now are around the holidays, having differing opinions, whether that's about parenting or politics or something else? How do you deal with your family members who have different opinions from you?
First, reflect what they've said. When it's a way of validating them and saying, I respect you, even though I hate the content of what you're saying, which I wouldn't say out loud. But, I would just say, so your point of view is this. Do I understand that correctly? And you feel this, the names of the emotions they might be feeling. That alone is going to build a bridge. It's going to help them feel seen. And another sentence is, help me understand that. How do you see that? What leads you to? And don't talk with people that don't speak respectfully to you. Just find a way to shut it down. And I encourage people to find an advocate at family functions. If you know that you have an uncle that triggers you, or you have an alcoholic aunt who's going to, really go on and on or be off the rails, have somebody in your family, a cousin or a grandparent or somebody in your family, a brother-in-law, who you can just go to and is a safe person, and you can just get some support. But do we have another Friday that we're doing? Is this the last one, Amy?
Next week, we're going to be on Zoom. So we're inviting people to come on Zoom and show us your faces if you're willing to, and engage with us on this topic, on the topic of the 15-minute challenge, but also, yeah, moving into the holidays, because that's sort of our topic for next month is, how to handle the holidays and intergenerational relationships.
Yes, I hope that folks will join us for the holidays conversation. It's a really important one. It's a fun one. I've been teaching it for years and years, and we have lots of great ideas. And you can always reach out to us. We can send you some materials about the holidays. It's one thing I remember that I want to relay to you right now, and it could be related to Halloween. It's much more important how it feels than how it looks. And I encourage you all to think about that. Thanks, Amy.
Thank you, Ruth. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.